and the Honorable Shadow Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you and members. This minority report has been signed by the following members: the Honorable Matthias Mpuga, the Honorable Yusuf Nsibambi, the Honorable Dr. Urume Baiga Sarongo Wamwenge, the Honorable Karim Masaba, and Ssemujju Ibrahim. Madam Speaker, I will not labor to go into what the main report has covered. The supplementary schedule number 2 of 2023-2024 amounting to 1.1 trillion was laid in Parliament on 17th April 2024 and referred to the committee. This second schedule follows supplementary schedule number 1 amounting to 3.5 trillion, laid on November 30th and passed by this Parliament in December. The first supplementary schedule was financed through extra borrowing of 3.6 trillion. And the second one is to be financed through reallocation within the budget. The supplementary, the first one, revised the total approved budget from 52.7 trillion to 55.3 trillion if you add that money. To consider this supplementary, the Budget Committee held 3 meetings, one at Munyonyo Speak Resort on Thursday, April 18th, and at Parliament on Monday, yesterday, and today. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, those of us opposed to the supplementary expenditure request have pursuant to Rule 205 of the Rules of Procedure written a minority report, and these are the areas of dissent. The first, this supplementary request does not comply with the law. 2, the dubious and endless State House classified expenditures. The third, we oppose donating 578.4 billion taxpayers' money to Mr. Magora. Non-compliance with the law. All the activities and items government is seeking to finance through this second supplementary request do not meet the requirement of Section 25 of the Public Finance Management Act. Section 25, 6 and 7 makes it categorical that an activity or item funded by a supplementary budget must be unavoidable and unforeseeable. The law goes ahead to define these 2 terms. Unavoidable means an expenditure that cannot be postponed to the next financial year. Mind you, the next financial year starts on July 1st, which is hardly 2 months away. Unforeseeable means an item not foreseeable by the vote at the time of preparing of the budget of the vote, or an expenditure that should have been included in the budget of the vote. The intention of this section is to stop readers running a country like a kiosk or a kiraro. In fact, even in a kiraro has rules. Usually milking is done in the morning and evening. The items to be funded here include salaries, wages, gratuity, land compensation, compensation to ranchers, municipal or state infrastructure, State House classified, etc. In fact, release of this money, if it is ever released, almost 1 month at the end of the financial year, will cause a stampede as people are fighting to absorb this money. The time remaining for the end of the financial year No. Agencies will be fighting to beat the end of financial year 2 months deadline. Therefore, even if you stretch the meaning of these two words to accommodate the listed items, the time remaining for the end of the financial year cannot facilitate release and absorption of the money, especially where procurement is required. Supplementary, this particular one we are processing is increasing State House budget to 802 billion. In this supplementary schedule number 2, State House is asking for another 18.6 classified expenditure. It is also asking for an additional 2.7 billion for wages. If approved, this will bring the total State House budget for this financial year to 802.6 billion. Remember, the budget was passed in May 2023 and State House was given 421.9 billion at that time. In December, 5 months after, State House requested for an additional 353.3 billion in classified expenditure, which this Parliament approved, bringing total budget for the residence of President Museveni to 775.2 billion. The President is now demanding for another 21.3 billion in supplementary schedule number 2. This, as noted above, will bring total State House budget for this financial year to 802.6 billion. State House budget has, since the passage of the budget, grown by 46%. State House has turned into a bottomless pit. What this means in real terms is that the country is spending 2.1 billion per day on maintaining the residence of its revolutionary leader. Shillings 91.6 million per hour and shillings 1.5 million per second on maintaining our revolutionary leader. This is a huge cost for Uganda, where 20% of its population is still living on less than $1 per day. Kampala, capital city, the same year is given a total budget of 386 billion, including a miserable 31 billion for roads and bridges improvement. It means while we spend 2.1 billion on maintaining our president and his dear wife per day, we are spending 86 million on maintaining Kampala roads and bridges in the same period. While we spend 91.6 million on maintaining the president per hour, we are spending 3.5 million on Kampala roads and bridges, which is our capital city. C. President Museveni classified budget under his residence is now 455 billion. This is the budget classified under the residence. Parliament must interest itself in the ever-increasing State House classified budget. In the 2023-2024 budget, State House was given 83.1 billion for classified expenditure. State House requested for an additional 353.3 billion, again for classified expenditure, which this Parliament approved. It is now asking for a third classified budget of 18.6 billion the same year, bringing total classified expenditure of State House to 455 billion. The table below is showing you the requests. First, in the budget, we put there 83.1 billion classified. Then this breakdown in the last first supplementary schedule. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, while State House is a public property, what takes place there is a private matter between the president and his family. That's why our president is given a salary under the emoluments and benefits of the president, vice president, and prime minister's act. This salary is for him to spend on items like any other human being. A free facilitated house is one of the benefits under this law. What the law envisaged is that the president will perform his public duties and functions through his office and retire to State House to rest. This Parliament ought to know what classified duties is the president performing in his bedroom. By endlessly recurring taxpayers' money to his residence, our president is inviting public scrutiny into his private life. This parliament must bring the president under the
There's a-
armpit of the law.
There's a procedural matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to appreciate the honorable member on the floor for the report. But then, just as we did with the first report, isn't it procedure right that it goes to the recommendations? Because the details we all know, but at least we have the report with us on our iPads. Straight away go to the recommendations and we debate the report. And Madam Speaker,
Honorable members, in the public gallery this afternoon, we have a delegation of former Ugandan students in Algeria under the Uganda-Algeria Alumni Association. They met the Committee of Foreign Affairs this morning for an interaction on the condition of Ugandan students in Algeria. Please stand up. And in the Parliament of Uganda here, the person that Parliament chose to represent Parliament in Algeria is Honorable Hassan Kirumira. He's here. You need to interact with him before you go back.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it is in written. It was sent to Algeria. So you should interact with the alumni and get their issues. Thank you.
This report is very...
There was a procedure matter, and I think the member is about to complete. And is flowing, and it swims. Is flowing and swims. He likes classified issues in the bedroom. So let's allow him finish.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. See, the reason there is this breakdown, we are of different background. The constituency where I was born, neighbors his, and I know his background as a former LDU. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members.
What have you said?
While
He's a member of the reserve force.
a free
Honorable
facilitated
member.
state house.
He's a member of whose reserve force?
No, I have said, and he knows, Chazanga is near his constituency. He was harassing us when he was LDU. So, Madam Speaker, this is a small report, so can I be given... Madam Speaker, a free, fully facilitated state house is one of the benefits under this law.
Honorable member, there is no way that Honorable Ssemujju would know the other one was an LDU when he was not. So they are the same. So please go ahead.
Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Parliament must bring the President under the armpit of the law. He should choose between Entebbe and Nakasero residences.
There is an order.
But this one he keeps disturbing me. The other day he was complaining about Kanyarieri.
Right Honorable Speaker, you designated me to chair Committee of Defense and Internal Affairs. I know the role of LDUs. They actually don't harass people. What I know,
Honorable.
they actually harass thieves, they harass criminals, and I don't think the honorable member is one of them.
Honorable members, I don't know why you're distorting the report. Can we move? Can we move and finalize on this report? Huh? At least one thing he has not, if you had said he's a homosexual, it would be something more offending. But LDU, go ahead.
I think, Madam Speaker, I remember when the first time I came to Parliament.
You read.
I am reading.
You read.
I am reading. The first time I came here, we were told in a seminar to think before we speak. Madam Speaker, this Parliament must bring the President under the armpit of the law. The law provides one state house. The President must choose between Entebbe and Nakasero residences. He should also stop operating lodges in other towns. That's what the law provides.
Can I first ask before you go ahead?
Madam, then you will be interfering with the report reading.
No, I just want to be cleared. Which one is a home? Which one is an office?
Madam Speaker,
Where?
the law on President, Vice President, and Prime Minister define these things. I am not the one defining them. Maybe I will need to bring a copy here for my colleagues to appreciate. All the benefits of the President are given by the law. He does not give himself, including a salary, including educating his children. In fact, the law limits him to 4 children. He's not supposed to produce more. That's what is in the law.
Honorable members, listen. Listen. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, where I was seeking for a clarification from Ibrahim is because I don't know where the office is. I have been imagining the office is in Entebbe, so I have just gotten to know now that it is here.
No, incidentally, Madam Speaker, I am lucky I have been here both as an MP and a journalist. I know when money was passed here to build the State House in Entebbe. I know. The President at that time was calling Nakasero State Lodge. The law allows him one state house. It is even defined. He also operates lodges. That's what I'm saying.
There's the information.
In a report reading, Madam Speaker, there cannot be information in a report reading.
You are not the speaker.
No, you
Madam
want a
Speaker,
clarification.
Information.
the President should follow the law. This Parliament has a duty to bring him under the armpit of the
You
law.
can wait. You will respond to him.
He should also stop operating lodges in other towns. That's what the law provides, one state house. I am therefore, Madam Speaker, that's the first point of dissent. That we cannot continue sending money.
I am not sending Kabanda to rules. He has not made any mistake. Which one?
You stole cooperative money and we left you.
Honorable members.
Madam Speaker, can I now move to Magora? Having finished the State House. Maybe that will create some comfort. But I volunteer, if you allow me, I'm going to give a copy of the law on President's benefits to every MP, Madam Speaker, at my cost. Madam Speaker, point number D. 578.4 billion to Mr. Matthias Magora. Mind you, okay, I'll come to that. The government is also seeking to finance.
The bill is putting Magola all day pharmaceuticals. No, what I'm saying, is there a name Magola in the bill? I mean in the report, or it is there?
Madam Speaker, we have spent 3 days looking at this supplementary. Information came, including documents, showing that Magola is the director, Kereni Koburunji, somebody is another director. If I can be allowed to go down,
So
all the
you
questions-
say 578.4 billion to Mr. Magola, Kellen, Swan, others.
Madam Speaker, what you are suggesting will come during the debate.
And now, you see now, Honorable Ssemujju, I'm helping you on this. When you mention only Magola, Honorable Sumani will say, is it because he's a Msoga? Why are you not mentioning another person?
Okay, I can mention another person, Kereni Kamurunji. They are the proprietor. The government is also seeking to finance through supplementary schedule number 2, Day Pharmaceuticals, a private pharmaceutical plant being set up by Mr. Magola, a Ugandan biochemist.
Honorable, when they are giving a supplementary to Abubakar in Buganda, why don't you complain? Why?
Madam Speaker, Mr. Magola came into prominence in March 2022 when he claimed that he had discovered a cure for coronavirus that causes COVID-19. I was here. The then Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, broke the good news to Parliament that this cure for coronavirus would be available within a fortnight. To quote her, she said, the treatment will be made here. Right Honorable Kadaga said an American scientist from Illinois University, Professor Salfaraz Niaz, had donated the patent to manufacture the coronavirus drug to Magola, and work was progressing in Luzira. Uganda Medical Association denounced this news, and Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng politely advised the country to listen to World Health Organization more. The Honorable Kadaga with Magola, an American professor, even secured a meeting with President Museveni, who bought into this idea. This is the day they were meeting, if you don't have this picture. Magola and President Museveni. This one here. I want to lay on table. This one, there is President Museveni, there is Magola, there is this American professor, and the former speaker,
Where did
Rebecca
you get
Kadaga.
it from?
The Honorable Kadaga with Magola and their American friend even secured a meeting with President Museveni, who bought into the idea and now became its main driver. President Museveni then advised Magola to think of a cure for other viruses because his medicine would become irrelevant once COVID was over. Like a Rubawa specialized hospital, you can see there is minimal participation of health minister and other health experts in this venture. Magola begins to swim in free money. I am reading the report. President Museveni, accompanied by the then Kenyan Vice President and now President William Ruto, inaugurated Day Pharmaceuticals on July 6, 2021. Since that inauguration, government has injected in 145 billion. The first batch of this money, totaling 70 billion, was included in the budget of 2023-2024, this budget that we are running. And you can find this information on page 42 of the President's policy statement. This day of Magola again benefited from another 75 billion cash through the supplementary schedule number 1, passed in December. Mr. Magora's company has returned now with an additional 578.4 billion request in this supplementary schedule number 2. In a presentation to the budget committee during our Munyonyo retreat, a staff of the Ministry of Science, Dr. Cosmas Mukirize, his title Superintendent, Industrial Value Chains Development, said the reason this supplementary is being rushed is troubled by United States $100 million loan it borrowed from Equity Bank. Remember, colleagues, when we are handling Atiak, again, this Equity Bank came into picture that they had lent them money and now they are harassing them. That all the money government is extending is being used to clear the loan. That's why government now wants to inject in another 578.4 billion. The decision of cabinet was that this money being injected in this company be converted into shares. For this to happen, the following must be fulfilled. And this is what we are demanding in the Committee on Budget. First, there must be a special board resolution granting government shares in the company. This resolution, you can only pass it after a 40 days notice. That's why they came here waiving a commitment. But the information was very clear. Have a resolution. Because you can wake up one day and Magora says, I no longer want you. You remember, during Chogam, government gave Sudhir 12 billion, and later Sudhir said that who asked you to come and invest in a private company when he appeared before the Committee on Park chaired by Honorable Kasiyano. 2, evaluation of the company by the chief government valuer. This is to ascertain the worthiness, viability of the company, and price of its share before you commit public resources. Memorandum and articles of association to know who the real owners are. There must also be a disclosure of beneficial owners, a new requirement in the Company Act to curtail money laundering. There must at least be a memorandum of understanding or agreement spelling out key issues. All these documents have not been brought. What has been brought is a commitment. Absence of these and other documents made it very difficult for the Budget Committee to sanction this supplementary. So the Minister of Science began to WhatsApp some documents to the Secretariat of the committee, including during some of our meetings. Some small documents we are coming through WhatsApp. As far as we are concerned, there is absolutely no ground upon which even a royalist of Mr. Museveni can base on to give Magora money. This parliament must learn from its earlier mistakes and stop giving our taxpayers money just like that. Remember, in Atiak, we have now invested 555 billion in Atiak. No tangible results. We have injected 476 billion in Ruoa. The infrastructure is not there. That's why they can't allow you to go, because there is nothing to see. Otherwise, even by the roadside, you can see structure. But the one of Ruoa, you have to sneak in to see. Remember, Chira Motors, over 300 billion, they have only produced just about a dozen buses. There must be a cut-off for these kind of risky ventures. Money for Magora, this is very critical for this parliament, is being diverted from debt service. Government, and you've seen the main report, does not have money to give Magora. What it has done is to divert 666 billion from our public debt servicing vote 130. During a committee meeting, Director Budget, Minister of Finance, told us that the money being diverted was meant to clear debt with Bank of Uganda. You know, we owe Bank of Uganda 7 trillion. Already, government owes Bank of Uganda, it's a mistake here, it's not 3, it is 7. And Bank of Uganda is charging us a lot of fees. For example, the Auditor General notes on page 44 of his report that BOU charged the government a penalty fees of 405 billion last financial year for failure to pay debt. We are again postponing that payment in favor of Magora. Ridiculous. Moreover, our debt servicing obligation has now hit 25 trillion, which is 43% of our next financial year's budget. It is the reason Finance issued a corrigenda on April 3rd, 2024, announcing a budget cut of up to 2.7 trillion. that has affected every vote, including this parliament. There are many things we aspire for in life. If you can't get them, you can't go and break a bank. A pharmaceutical to manufacture drugs is a very important good venture. But it found us already servicing loans for energy, for roads, for this and that. It is good, but you cannot afford it, at least at the moment. I actually now think this is not Magora. Someone who can make us remove money from debt servicing in order for us to pay his debts. It is not this Magora. It is another Magora hiding under this Magora. Mr. Magora, when he appeared to defend the first allocation of 70 billion, he told the Committee on Budget that the total cost of his project will be $1 billion US, which is 3.9 trillion. The government will continue charging the consolidated fund for private undertaking for a very long period at the taxpayers' expense. This is what former Shadow Minister, the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, told us last year. A biotechnology firm, Moderna, was setting up a similar facility in Kenya at a cost of $500 million US, 500 million US. You remember the troubles we had with Bujagali. In Ethiopia, it was a quarter of the price setting up the same thing. Madam Speaker and honorable members, you will not say we did not warn you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chair, thank you so much for the warning. Okwalinga.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the Committee on Budget for the report they have presented, and also the Shadow Minister for his elaborate report. Right Honorable Speaker, I support entirely the report, the main report, but less the issue of Magola. Because I am aware that to build and construct and fully equip a pharmaceutical industry can cost not more than 100 billion shillings. I'm aware that even in the entire region and Africa as a whole, the most expensive, look at even just the one we have in Luzera. It did not cost that much. So I would really like the government to come clean on this issue and tell us where this money is heading. So some of us who are really very, very
Honorable
committed.
members, let's use 2 minutes.
May I just conclude? Some of us who are really highly committed to this government would like maybe first to have an in-house discussion before some of these things come in, so that we know what is the underlying issue. But without that,
Honorable members, you know, I like people who like living small. If I build a house of 2 million, I don't want my neighbor to build one of 5 million. Yes, Dr. Mona?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister of Finance and also the Shadow Minister for their presentations. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to limit myself to respond. First of all, I want to say support the report and support the submission of the Minister of Finance. But I want to limit myself to 2 areas raised by the Honorable gentleman who is also the Shadow Minister of Finance, Honorable Ssemujju Nganda. Oh, sure, whatever. Sorry, but okay. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to begin one of them, that's the one about State House. I'm not mentioning this because I used to work there. But Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that
Yeah, Dennis, procedure on what? Just leave him to. What?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the speaker on the floor, the member on the floor, the minister, is a former PS.
Which rule stops him from speaking on the floor? Quote the rule.
Rule 39, Right Honorable Speaker.
No, you read it for me, Bavati. Read for me.
Right Honorable Speaker, meanwhile I want to submit us.
Read for me. Read for me what the rule says.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is Rule 49. Sorry. Rule 49, Right Honorable Speaker. A question shall not be asked without notice unless it is an urgent nature relating either on a matter of public importance.
How is it related to what? How is it related to what?
I'm going to ask a question, Right Honorable Speaker.
No. You see what Honorable Ssemujju said? That when they are just come, they would tell them to first think before you say something. So you first think before you say something.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, listen.
Right Honorable Speaker, my contribution towards the Honorable Member's submission is that one, State House is an institution of government. It has never been the property of a president who is there. And President Museveni is not the first president who has lived in State House. So when this House appropriates for State House, it actually appropriates for government. It's a facility of government, not President Museveni and his family. And I also want to inform the Honorable Gentleman that State House also has other facilities that are run under it, which we call the state lodges. And they are scattered all over the country for the purpose of the service to the people of Uganda. In fact, some of them were even built way back during Idi Amin and others. And they exist, and these are properties of the government of Uganda that we must maintain. And I will also want to inform the Honorable Gentleman, Right Honorable Speaker, that the running of State House is not necessarily about the President Museveni and his wife. This is quite ridiculous. You yourself may one day, God willing, become president of this country. Does it mean necessarily that when you live in State House, all that appropriated there will be for the running of? I think this is quite ridiculous. What I want to say, Honorable Speaker, is that what we appropriate here is not necessarily for the occupant of State House and his wife. And this brings me to the other, the definition of what we call the classified expenditure. I really hope that this House
Honorable members, decorum.
What classified expenditure, maybe the Minister of Finance may help this House, may tell this House what classified expenditure is. But I want to say that classified expenditure does not mean the expenditure for the President and his wife.
You switch on.
Right Honorable Speaker, because of the small time, I also want to contribute about what the Honorable Gentleman has referred to as billions as a rejection of 57.84 billion to Mr. Magola Matthias. Right Honorable Speaker, we are very aware about the policy of this government to promote import substitution. And Right Honorable Speaker, the money being allocated to day pharmacy is not money given for free. It has just been mentioned here that government will have a stake in the day pharmacy. But it is important to take that. What I want to bring forward here, Right Honorable Speaker, is to understand the policy of government. As we speak now, Right Honorable Speaker, the market, the pharmaceutical market of Uganda is US $301 million. And meaning that if we have to import this is the money we'll be giving out to the world. The thing of government here is that government should promote, government should support those who can manufacture here so that we increase our substitution to import. Imagine $301 million taken out there. Supposing government invest in this, and it's not for free. In fact, again, Right Honorable Speaker, to let you know that we can take a big advantage of this other global market. In fact, imagine the global market for pharmaceuticals is $1.6 trillion. It is also true, Right Honorable Speaker, that as I speak now, Uganda is already beginning to export pharmaceutical products, which is good for our country. So I really think that we should be kind. However, I agree. Okay, Right Honorable Speaker, let me take the clarification.
I have a lot of respect for the Honorable Dr. Omona. And the statistics he's quoting, rightly so no one objects from this side. We are only stating that the same government talks about prioritization. And the question is very simple. With all the burdens that we have, we had the presentation recently of the Health Committee, and it was saying it needed only 3 billion shillings to put in place and activate the ICU unit in Masaka. If a patient suffered and was or would be need for to be put into ICU, all the way from Mbarara to Kampala, they definitely need only 3 billion shillings to fix the ICU. And you're saying we should sit here as countrymen to appropriate 576 billion to an individual.
Yes. We have budgeted for that ICU unit.
We are talking of now.
Now.
What is more critical? The infrastructure.
When this was sent to the committee,
yes, please,
you ought to have gone there and say, instead of giving 673, let's remove part of it for the ICU unit.
Right Honorable Speaker, we are debating a report in this house. Now we are the whole house. And we are saying the Honorable Gentleman, Dr. Omona, is moving a good justification of the global demand for pharmaceuticals and the placement of Uganda to improve its balance of trade and balance of payment. But we are also saying, what are the priorities of our countrymen now? Is it to invest in an individual's company, 576 billion, or if it was the call for the nation, why not create the Uganda National Pharmaceutical Company that is owned by Ugandans, rather than debating in anticipation and saying that in future we intend to acquire shares. So you are appropriating money without doing the first things first. Why not acquire shares first? Cement the position of government in that company, then you appropriate taxpayers' money.
Honorable members, we need to finish this and go to the tax bills. For me, that is, we must finish. And I'm saying we must finish the tax bills because Honorable Nandara is going away and I need him to be around. Yes, Doctor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I really want to thank the Honorable Gentleman about proposing that in future Uganda should. These are good proposals. But however, I mean, my colleague, this does not, the proposal give you very good, but does not justify that Uganda shouldn't promote the investment in this huge market. I agree. But one thing that I also take very serious is that that government must be very serious and ensure that we will have value for money in this investment. I think on this we all agree, but does not take away the justification. I mean, when we talk about shares, when we talk about buying a stake, in fact, that's what we mean, in essence. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The order, you now speaking, it's not an order, because he has gone away. Speak not an order.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you. The first point of clarification that should come from government, in the narrative in the schedule, it is said that the 578 billion is for an off-take arrangement. An off-take arrangement in business means that I advance money to a producer. That producer will give me the products and I become the seller. So are they saying government of Uganda is now going to be an agent of that factory? It is in the narrative.
First answer that, because it is a very serious matter. First answer. No, if he has information, let him give. Doctor, give it.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm just responding to the honorable gentleman speaking about offtake. I'm not an economist, but this is basic economics. Offtake means that you commit yourself to buy of a certain percentage produced, but not necessarily that you must pay upfront. So indeed, the offtake, no, this is in writing. Offtake, Right Honorable Speaker, the government of Uganda gives offtake to producers to motivate them to produce those products. Indeed, Right Honorable Speaker, some of these investments are very huge, that somebody may not put his money there to produce in such large volumes when they are not assured of the market. But if government assures the producers of the market of what they produce, they are motivated. And indeed, I think it's a good idea for government to give offtake or to have offtake agreements with the manufacturers.
When you look at what offtake is, it says a party who buys the product being produced by the project or uses the service being sold by the project. So, who will get...
Madam Speaker,
go to the next one. Go to the next.
No. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I raised that because this House cannot approve without certainty. What they are telling us is that they would like to acquire equity, meaning that they want to be the owner of the company. But in the narrative of the document they are bringing here, they are telling us they are just advancing so that later on when the product starts coming out, they guarantee the market. This House cannot proceed without certainty on what exactly the government wants to do. I don't intend, they will respond. I don't intend to block it, but for me as a legislator, I want Parliament that makes legislation that can be defended, and we are not taken for granted.
John,
thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Just a minute, he's also giving information.
Right Honourable Speaker, I'm a member of the Budget Committee, and this information came up. That's why I'm declaring my interest, and this information came up. Right Honourable Speaker, government is acquiring a stake, which is an equity stake. That's not in dispute. However, the Ministry of Health has made commitment of up to 35 billion to purchase the first line of drugs that shall be produced by the company. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Yes, they did. They did.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to give information. This Parliament ought to be consistent. Where we have wanted government to acquire equity, we have channeled the money through UDC, Uganda Development Corporation. Government set up an investment arm for an investment vehicle. Wherever it wants to venture into investment, it goes through UDC. Now, wherever you talk about equity, and Parliament is to acquire equity in any entity to commit government, the vehicle is UDC. That's an act Parliament passed. So we can't stand here in this Parliament, want to acquire equity, and we want to pass it direct, through back door. Government of Uganda, and consistency is key. When we wanted to acquire equity in Roko, in Atiak, and everywhere, it was through UDC. Therefore, for anyone to come here and say we want to give money to Magora direct, through offtake, through an entity, without going through UDCA, is itself inconsistent with what we've been doing, and that speaks of a wrong motive of this venture.
Thank you. Just to conclude on that, for people who know, equity is quantifiable. If you talk of shares anywhere, you will know it at the beginning, that the shares that are available are this, and this is the amount we are selling, and then we then can evaluate whether 578, what if we are given, government is given 1 share? Would it be worth this amount? The second point I'm coming to, Madam Speaker, in financing this supplementary, one of the sources has been stated as reallocations of 666 billion. When we budget, Madam Speaker, we budget and it becomes an act of parliament. If you are going to tamper with any provision of that appropriation act, you can only come to this house and tell us that we are now reducing from vote 130, similar to an amendment, an amount of 666, taking to this other one. That is the procedure that should have come here. The moment you are tampering with a budget made by parliament, it's like you are amending a law. So how do they come with 666 and then say we are
hear
moving?
from them.
And then I conclude. I wanted to just, so that's done at once.
Let's hear from them.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Indeed, the Public Finance Management Act provides that reallocations from one vote to another requires approval.